Before we do this public participation process plan, I think we should probably talk a little bit about the TDC, the meeting yesterday, and maybe some of the things that are going to be happening here in the future. So I don't know, I guess to turn it over to Commissioner Cates, if you will.
Commissioner Cates.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was at the TDC meeting representing the county yesterday because Mayor Rashine had a previous engagement. She couldn't make it, so we needed representation on this meeting because the importance of this meeting. As we all have reviewed the audit that came from the clerk of the court, and as we discussed it yesterday, every item, every recommendation, we went down at the TDC board and discussed. The final one is the one that I believe we should take action on sooner than later, or not wait on the other reports, because the lack of TDC management oversight, all the issues that we're having, goes back to the director had oversight all this. And then as we discussed it at the meeting, it was a very good, robust discussion, as the mayor uses a lot of times. It was very robust. And everybody agreed that she's a nice person, and she's done a good job. Her expertise is in marketing, but the reality of it is the recommendation is the training, and we need a more of an expert in TDC management. This organization has a $65 million budget, and there's been other issues in it, but I think it's very important that we have a director that's an expert in that field in the future. And of course, they're going to need a CFO there, also a chief financial officer, to work with the amount of budget that they have here. In the interim, we have our finance director, Tita Bowen, and her staff is there going through, straighten out a lot of issues that the TDC has, and she's making these improvements, recommendations, being approved, but they need somebody there at all times. And Mayor, I'd like to say the motion that I had made there, we're talking with legal. The motion was to cancel the employment agreement with the marketing director without cause, effective immediately, which is in her contract. You have that option to do that, and we would go out for a new director, an expert in TDC, and that would take some time. In an interim, we'd continue like we were doing, wait on the other audits for issues that could come up with those audits, and the state's attorney's investigating it, also doing his audit. But just about every member agreed that it was probably a little bit over her head, and she was really a marketing person, and that's what she was promoted from in the TDC. So we thought that was a good agreement. If they wanted to bring her back in the future after we have a director, then that would be a possibility if the new director agreed with that and the board did. But I made the motion, the mayor of Key West made the second, and then we took it to vote, and everyone voted down except the mayor and I. So that being said, I know this board has its concerns about that, because ultimately the BOC is responsible. All right, we tasked those people with being on the board. We appointed them, and to represent us, the citizens of Monroe County and the BOCC. I think everybody's not comfortable with the direction it was going, and it needs to be corrected. And we, as the TDC, recommended before to put the director on administrative leave until this audit was done, or wait even longer. But I felt, and I believe we'll see how everyone else feels, that the issues that we have, we need more of a professional expert director to move forward. and correct these issues. So that was the gist of the meeting. Everything else was agreeable to wait for the rest of the audit, which these issues and this audit was primarily with the director, which the next audit will not be as much with the director, and Kevin Maddox can say that, but with the other vendors. This was Newman Advertising, and his audit is done. Now they're going to the Tinsley and Two Oceans Digital. And of course the director will be looked at in those and recommendations being made. But that being said, this was enough, I believe, and we'll see what the commission believes, that we need to move in a direction of a positive, of a stronger director. Any questions?
What would that mean? What would that mean for us to do? I'm not sure that I understand.
Well, we could, as simple as making a recommendation to our board that we appointed to move in that direction, and to voice our concern that we need a stronger director. And Roman, you can comment. You surround yourself with experts. If you just strong, smart people, well, I think we have to use that same style of leadership and get somebody in there that's really strong and a professional. Could you comment?
Yeah, sure. And we talked about this, and I think I talked about it at the last meeting. When I started, Tina will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but the TDC budget was probably about $15 million, $18 million 15 years ago when I started. And like you said, it's grown to $65 million. That's annual intake revenues, but they're sitting on over $100 million in fund balance. That's a lot. That's a lot. And God bless them. I don't know how they do it with the staff, the same staff that they had 15 years ago. And I think that's just common sense tells you that you're going to have a problem. We've grown also in our head count and our professionalism, and I think they need to do the same thing. And 43 years, they're doing a great job, but obviously they've gotten to a point where they need additional help, and we're here to help them. As you know, Tina's been going there 2 or 3 times a week, and we can provide more help if we have to. But yeah, they need to just grow into what the organization that they are, because they've just $65 million. That's a lot of contracts, a lot of going on with the same staff that they had 15 years ago. So I think that needs to be looked at, and I'm willing certainly to help out any way I can.
As you go out the door.
Well, I wish they weren't affiliated with the county, because then I could really do it. But I can help out as much as I can. So, and certainly Tina's finding out what's going on, and in a lot smaller situation. Tina did the same thing for the airport about 10 years ago, if you remember, when we were in transition for directors, and she went in there and just did a great job. Brought some professional staff, brought Beth Lito over there, for example, and they were able to straighten that out. And now the airport's, it is what it is. So we can do it. We've done it before. We can do it again. Feel confident about that.
And I see we've got Tina of many hats and also Christine. Ladies, do you want to make any brief comments on your current status?
So just wanted to, as Commissioner Kate said, we went through the audit yesterday with the TDC. It was this last one where the motion was made. Just wanted to make the clarification that, of course, you can make a recommendation, but the employment agreement between the marketing director is with the corporation, which we refer to as doing business as Visit Florida Keys. So that's who has the contract. So a recommendation, yes, you could do, but you don't hire or fire the marketing director. That's part of the corporation. So just wanted to make that clarification. And if you have any questions, let me know.
Okay. Commissioners, other comments?
Before we move on, I did have a raised hand online, if you'd like to hear that person.
Yes, and apologies for
Sure, it's okay.
missing that important function.
Just on.
Rita Dolphins, please accept the prompt. Thank you.
Hello?
We can hear you. Welcome, Rita.
Okay, hi. I'm, as many of you know, the chairperson of the TDC, and I, first of all, have to applaud everybody who's been working hard to make changes as recommended through the first audit. I've been at several meetings where we all agree that this has to be looked at. I agree with Roman. We've gotten large and we got large fast. And the county has been quite responsible in bringing in experts to take a look at how we can do better. And that process is ongoing. And we are all waiting for the forensic audit of the TDC to be finished, along with the other two agencies. And the county went one step beyond that to have a risk assessment. And they brought in experts who we're going to hear from, we think, towards the end of March, maybe April, that are going to comprehensively look at what staffing we need. Tina's doing a tremendous job because she is in there, and Julie working every day and finding new things on how we can truly do better. And I think that when you reorganize an organization that has a $64 million budget, you want to do it in a comprehensive manner. That means new job descriptions. That means looking really hard at what expertise is missing. Do we want to go to a C-suite setup, for example? Having a CFO with no COO, it's not really a comprehensive corrective item. So I'm urging that all of this be looked at carefully with the experts that the BOCC has brought in, and we put together a strong organization that can stand up to today's challenges with the increased budget. And we can only hope that the budget stays as high as it did. We all know we had a banner year 2 years ago. That number may not be reached for some time. So we continue to work together with the county in taking the recommendation seriously. A lot of changes, again, thanks to Tina and Julie and the TDC staff and George Fernandez, who have stepped in to run the day-to-day executive part of our organization. Let's finish the process of investigation and make a strong, comprehensive solution so that we can all do better and the county can reap the rewards of an active TDC.
All right, thank you, Rita. All right, Commission?
Madam Mayor?
Yeah, you're recognized.
Thank you. Where do we stand with the Cherry Becker audit that's being conducted, and how much money are we spending on that audit? Who can answer that?
I believe it's in the area of the maximum amount of $300,000 or something close to that. They bill us by the hours and the activity and the level of staff that they put on it. So I need to research that for you. The audit is ongoing. We've worked directly with them. We being myself, Julie in my office, and the clerk's office. They've interviewed staff. I don't really know what the findings are. It is confidential. The 16-week period that you hired them for is over, I believe, on the end of the 3rd week or the beginning of the 4th week of March. The original audit came out on October 31st. The clerk published. Since that time, your staff has taken action. We, as Rita mentioned, we're in the office several days a week, and we work directly with the TDC staff on a daily basis. We meet weekly with Christine Limbert, and we kind of lay out all of our questions and things that we find, and review the policy with her and what changes are necessary. We feel like we're making good progress with all the training and review that we're doing. We are looking through each and every contract, looking at ways to improve it. Clerk Maddox, Finance Director Pam Radloff, meets with us whenever we need her for clarification. For example, she sat down with me last week when the Tinsley audit was published so I could make sure that I understood each and every recommendation that was in here. So we are taking action as we go. And there are a couple of things that will wait for all of Clerk Maddox's audits to come out and the forensic audit. And I believe the state attorney is also working on this, so there will be some policy changes that I'll hold off on making a recommendation for until I get everything. I think the budget process is already set for the TDC office. I don't see any issues with that. You've got longtime staff there who want to learn and are very cooperative, so we'll continue to work with them. I do think that there may be a couple of positions that will need to be filled there so they can simply handle the volume and complexity of what they're dealing with. As far as the marketing portion, George is available to us. We have that process laid out with meetings scheduled, so I don't believe there'll be any interruption with that. I guess that's everything.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tina. Commission, any other questions, comments? What are we thinking?
Well, personally, I think we should wait until this forensic audit is finished with and see what recommendations they make. Let our county attorney, I mean, do you want to weigh in now? Do you have an opinion now?
More knowledge is better than less knowledge. I mean, the issue with respect to the marketing director, she is not your employee. You could make a recommendation to the TDC, as Ms. Limbert outlined. If I recall correctly, her contract provides for discharge by cause or not cause, and it's pretty much the same term. So if there was an appetite for moving in that or making that recommendation, my recommendation at this point would be without cause, because we don't have the benefit of the forensic audit. It gives you it's the same cost involved in that termination. So that's where my thoughts are at this point.
Okay. All right, so is it agreeable to the commission to wait until we have a comprehensive, I guess, collection of audits, and then subsequent recommendations that will come out of these audits to move forward?
Well, my preference would be to wait until we have all the information, unless someone can explain to me an important reason why we need to take action presently. I'd like to have the information, but if there are overridingly strong reasons why we need to take some action at this point, I'll listen.
So just to clarify, I'd set your time mark on the Cherry Beckert forensic audit and the self-evaluation. I wouldn't wait for the state attorney's audit, because he's going to be looking for criminality and things like that.
Yeah.
And there's no timeline as to what governs that. That could take months, it could take days. We don't know, and it's outside of our control. So I would not set that as an expectation to wait on that particular audit, but to go with the audit that this board has commissioned through Cherry Beckert.
That makes sense. Yeah,
just,
Commissioner Cates.
I'd just like to say one more comment. The public trust has been eroded with the TDC, as you've well seen, all right, and I know you've heard. We all want to do the right thing, but this is a business decision, and the TDC needs a new direction. All right, you need a strong manager. This is not accusing them when the audit comes back, it's going to say that the director's done a great job and has been managed properly. Obviously, you can easily see that with Tina, it's comments she made. There's a lot of issues there. This is a professional decision to move forward with a new director, a strong director, a professional who can manage a $65 million budget. Why wait 3 more months and then just go out for a new director, which is, I think we can all feel is going to be needed, because this is a very important position in that obviously they don't work for us. It could easily be brought in-house and you run it. But I would personally much rather see it run like it is, just with a strong director that makes all these decisions, that bring the recommendations to the board. This is the person that manages. This is like our county administrator. The importance of that position is just, you can't even put, you know, a number on it or what. That's so important. And I think that position needs to be considered, how important it is, and need to put a strong person in there. I mean, we just talk about the manager, the Roman, the great job he's done, his people under him, he directs us. This is basically, it basically set up just like we are the TDC board is oversight for the private company, which is a nonprofit, Visit Florida. And that's who does runs the business there, hires the people, says what needs to be done, and reports to the board their findings for direction, just like they do for us. So that job is so important. I just can't see waiting 3 more months or 2 more months. What's already been shown in his audit, which is a constitutional officer has authority to audit that agency. So that being said, I can't see how we can just move past that. Madam Mayor and Commission, I respectfully understand to be cautious, but I think we've been very cautious, and this is too important. This is taxpayers' money, and we need to make sure we're managing properly, which I know we are, but I think we can see there's an issue here, and we need to move forward with it. That's my opinion. And it's not a bad thing trying to kick somebody out. This is a business decision. We need better management.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Madam Mayor,
yeah, you're recognized.
I certainly agree with Commissioner Cates. You know, this is a real issue of public trust with public funds, and $65 million organization is a big organization that requires the right level of management focused on, you know, good stewardship of the money. And again, nothing personal against the director that was there, but clearly needs much better oversight in the front office there. And I'm glad George is filling in temporarily. I have great confidence in George being there, but the board, I think that their board needs to be more proactive and moving forward sooner rather than later, because, you know, it's not gonna, the current information we have would certainly warrant it, and I would think it'll be only reinforced with the ongoing audit, but I think sooner is better in this case.
Yep, Commissioner Lincoln.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, may I ask how your other audits are going, and when do you expect to have them complete? And are you also doing a forensic audit? I don't know how you would do one on Stacy. You couldn't, but
No.
so
I guess I have to be very careful here. We're having this discussion for a reason, and we have been very careful in the crafting of our recommendations, but I think if you read them carefully, particularly in the recent audit, I think you can see where the recommendations are going. We have there's 4 examinations still going on, 2 under my office's responsibility, 1 of the risk assessment, and then the state attorney's investigation. as far as this discussion is going. The fourth and final one that we'll be doing, Two Oceans Digital, is very complicated, and I have no timeline on that one. As far as the Cherry Bekaert risk assessment, I purposely instructed them not to update me on their findings. So as with you, I don't know what they're finding. I believe they're nearing the conclusion. I don't know how close they are, but they're closer to the end than they are at the beginning. And then the state attorney is doing his own work. But within a week, 10 days at the most, I believe we will be issuing the Tinsley report. And, you know, like I said, I don't think that's going to change the tone of this discussion. And then Two Oceans, I have no expectations of where that one's going. It has been started, but it's just the nature of the business. It's going to be very complicated. Did that answer your questions? Probably not.
Mr. Clerk, you did a great job trying to navigate that, because I know these are uncharted waters for us as a community.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? I just have a few. So Commissioner Case, we're not, or I'm certainly, we're not denying the path that you're heading down. But I think if we were to take action today, we would just be making a recommendation that you actually brought to the TDC board that would ultimately make that decision whether to terminate a contract or not. And they could tell us to go pound sand, or they could comply with our recommendation. I feel like yesterday's action gave you a pretty clear picture of what current action they might take. However, we have employed an audit firm to do a complete, comprehensive deep dive into the situation that is at hand right now. And I heard March, and so we could probably take this up and have a plan or recommendations on several positions, because I think, like Tina said, we're going to have to add some job descriptions to this, and so we could potentially take this up in August and make some big decisions. So I don't know if it's prudent to make another recommendation, and I know you were a champion yesterday in the meeting, and I appreciate you attending on my behalf. But I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze going through that at this juncture. And those are just my thoughts. But I get where you're going, and to Commissioner Scholl's point, making sure that we're timely, making sure that we begin the long process to not only restore the public's trust, but our own, and in our own processes. So do you guys feel good where we're going with this? Tina, we have our own people inside right now.
Well, I've been talking with her too, so I'm not out this making this decision. I'm not without information from her and what she's finding, and the poor management of the director was oversight was given. I think that is a given with these with the information we're getting. We need to go in that direction. The sooner, the better, because that's going to take time to hire that person.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. Do you think it's premature, though, to go down that path when we're going to have to, consider recommending other positions, like a CFO, like a COO, a CEO?
We don't recommend, they do. Go ahead.
That's right. So let's envision the county org chart. You've got Bob Schillinger works directly for you. Roman Gustesi works directly for you. Stacy Mitchell reports to the TDC board. So we wouldn't hire those positions. The executive director that reports directly to the nonprofit or TDC council, essentially, will organize all that and decide what they need. I think Roman would want to choose his own executive team and his own team that he works with. So I'm not sure you want to start adding positions until you've decided what you're going to do at the top. So the only thing you can do today is we can start looking at other structures, which was a recommendation or an option really in Clerk Maddox's audit, or we can make a recommendation to the TDC board, but you don't have any ability to let her go.
Yeah.
Bottom line is until the director is hired, you can't add those other positions. They work for that person.
Yes. I don't know. I'd have to ask legally if could George and Rita hire positions without a new director? But that's normally in her job description, right?
That would be a mistake.
Christine? So it's a very strange...
In my opinion, that would be a management mistake of the highest order. You really need to hire the person who's going to have the responsibility, and then they need to choose
build a team.
Their management team.
Yeah. I mean, can you? Yes. Should you? Different answer.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it, Bob. And no way would I support hiring staff without the director being in charge of that. You're setting up a disaster.
Yeah. So Commissioner Cates has expressed you don't want it to move to change the structure of management reporting, which is county department versus the nonprofit group managing. So the only thing you can do would be to make a strong recommendation to the TDC board, although yesterday they were completely not on board with that. In fact, sir, you can correct me if I'm wrong, there was a strong push to insert her into a lower position there, which we don't have a job description for, but the recommendation was for them to hire her into another position. So that may indicate to you the level of how they received Commissioner Cates's
motion.
Motion. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, then that makes me ask a question. Does that mean they don't think she's competent for the position and they wanted to put her somewhere lower?
Sounds like it.
I believe the chairperson, Ms. Irwin, did suggest such a thing. Yes, ma'am.
And it was, excuse me, Madam Mayor, it was mentioned many times by board members that they know that she does not have the expertise to be the director. Is that not correct?
I believe it was. Of course, I'd have to, listen to the minutes to know exactly who said what, but that's my best recollection. It was a pretty, fiery meeting. Yeah.
Robust.
Robust. Thank you.
Commissioner Cates, I greatly appreciate that you were there yesterday and that you've had additional conversations ongoing with Tina. However, this is my first time to hear all of this and to hear your side of it and to hear Tina, and I'm not sure I'm ready right now because I feel like I need to now ask a ton more questions that I would do in a staff briefing before I feel comfortable saying what I feel we should do with that position right now. Is that fair?
Well, no, whatever you decide to do, and it's up to you all. I know how I feel. I know how other staff feels. Even Maxine, the long-term employee there, they said it would not be good for her to come back in the office. She spoke up. I recognized. Maybe some people take that as an employee that is going against their boss. I took it as a person that stepped up and said, there's issues there. We're trying to correct them. She's working closely with Tina, and Tina, you can vouch for that and say what she said yesterday.
Yes, I believe she said that it would be very difficult. She felt it would be difficult for her to come back there now. While the audit was going on, yes.
Wow, okay. This is all new information.
Yeah, it is very new, but I'll have to admit, on a personal basis, given the difficulties that have been encountered and what we've seen, I can't imagine any way that the director could remain as the director in that organization. Perhaps a lower level position, but truly that should be up to the incoming director, not made by the board as a consolation prize. That's the director's decision. And I hear what you're saying, and I know they can't move ahead with management until the determination is made that vacates that position. So I understand it, but it's made pretty awkward by the fact that that's not really our role.
It does complicate it, so we could think of someone like Christine Hurley. You have control to fill her position, and she hires staff and reports to you.
So we're going to fire Christine?
Nope, all good, Christine. All good. All
Sorry,
good.
Christine.
Yeah.
I love
you meant.
Christine, but it's just, in this case,
Yes.
you have set up a structure that removes you from that ability.
So we could change that.
And we will probably discuss that in the coming months, but we've gone down a rabbit hole. Commissioner Cates, you made a motion, you got a second, and went down. You anticipate we could make a similar motion, send it to the TDC board, and probably get the same effect. So I don't know if we want to keep spinning our wheels or if we want to move on. We did have a plan. Our plan was to put Christine and Tina in place. We've hired a professional firm alongside to work with our clerk to give us some recommendations that we will, recommendations, I keep saying that, results maybe, and then we decide from there, Commissioner Cates.
Just one
But
more.
you are welcome to make a motion just so that we can move this
Can make
along.
one more comment,
Okay.
and the attorney can tell me if I'm wrong. We let them control it, but the board members we appoint, and we expect them to address our concerns at the same time. They have their concerns. They're supposed to have more hands-on at that, but we can all see, it's very clear, I don't think it's any question, that it needs new management at the directorship. So what I'm asking for is to send a message that we think you should move in that direction. Now, if they don't do it and continue and put Stacy back, which they have the right to do, and they were leading to do that, they want to put her back, all right? And I don't think that would be good perception to the citizens or us. I think what we should do is we appoint them and say, I believe that we should go in this direction. You make up your own mind, of course. They're independent, but we have the right to say that to them.
Yes.
Right, Bob?
Yes.
And we appoint, they serve at the will of the commission.
Well, if they listen to the transcript of this meeting and they don't get it, I don't know what a motion could add to.
No, I don't want to make a motion. I would like just I would just like the commission to say that I believe after everything that's happened, you need a new director, and we'd like to see you go in that direction. That's all. I think everybody here would not have a person working for one of our departments that turned that thing into this kind of disaster, or was overseeing it and it became this kind of disaster, leave them in that position. I don't think we would do that, or Roman would not do that, absolutely. No business person would do that. And it's a big business. It's tens of millions of dollars business, okay? This is big business now.
And Commissioner Cates, I think you've eloquently said that many times on our behalf, and probably said it many times yesterday. So, are we good, team? I think the message is clear to the TDC. Rita is on, probably listening. George is back there. And I'm sure that the message will be heard loud and clear.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay.